Hello students, welcome to the YouTube channel of Government Lohia College Churu. In today's session, we are going to study Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. This novel is included in your B.A.Part second paper, Prose and Fiction. Thomas Hardy was an English novelist and poet. He was born on 2nd June 1840 and died on 11 January 1928. He was a Victorian realist in the tradition of George Eliot, and he was influenced both in his novels and in his poetry by Romanticism, including the poetry of William Wordsworth. He was highly critical of much in Victorian society, especially on the declining status of rural people in Britain, such as those from his native southwest England. While Hardy wrote poetry throughout his life and regarded himself primarily as a poet, his first collection was not published until 1898. Initially, he gained fame as the author of novels such as Far from the Madding Crowd, The Mayor of Casterbridge, Tales of the D'Urbervilles, and Jude the Obscure. During his lifetime, Hardy's poetry was acclaimed by younger poets, particularly the Georgians, who viewed him as a mentor. After his death, his poems were lauded by Ezra Pound, W.H. Auden, and Philip Larkin. Early life of Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy was born on 2nd June 1840 in Higher Beckhampton, then Upper Beckhampton, a hamlet in the parish of Stinsford to the east of Dorchester in Dorset, England, where his father Thomas worked as a stonemason and local builder, and married his mother Jemima in Beaminster towards the end of 1839. Jemima, his mother, was well read, and she educated Thomas until he went to his first school at Bankton at the age of 8. For several years, he attended Mr. Last's Academy for Young Gentlemen in Dorchester, where he learned Latin and demonstrated academic potential. Because Hardy's family lacked the means for a university education, his formal education ended at the age of 16 when he became apprenticed to James Hicks, a local architect. Hardy trained as an architect in Dorchester before moving to London in 1862. There he enrolled as a student at King's College London. He won prizes from the Royal Institute of British Architects and the Architectural Association. He joined Arthur Bloomfield's practice as assistant architect in April 1862 and worked with Bloomfield on All Saints Parish Church in Windsor, Berkshire in 1862 to 64. A reredos, possibly designed by Hardy, was discovered behind panelling at All Saints in August 2016. In the mid 1860, Hardy was in charge of the excavation of part of the graveyard of St. Pancras Old Church prior to its destruction when the Midland Railway was extended to a new terminus at St. Pancras. Hardy never felt at home in London because he was acutely conscious of class divisions and his social inferiority. During this time, he became interested in social reform and the works of John Stuart Mill. He was introduced by his Dorset friend Horace Mall to the works of Charles Fourier and Auguste Comte. So he was influenced by John Stuart Mill, Charles Fourier, and Auguste Comte. Mill's essay on liberty was one of Hardy's cures for despair, and in 1924 he declared that my pages show harmony of view with Mill. He was also attracted to Matthew Arnold's and Leslie Stephen's ideal of the urban liberal freethinker. After 5 years concerned about his health, he returned to Dorset, settling in Weymouth, and decided to dedicate himself to writing. Marriage. In 1870, while on an architectural mission to restore the parish church of St. Juliet in Cornwall, Hardy met and fell in love with Emma Gifford, whom he married in Kensington in late 1874. In 1885, Thomas and his wife moved into Maxgate, a house designed by Hardy and built by his brother. Although they later became estranged, Emma's subsequent death in 1912 had a traumatic effect on him, and after her death, Hardy made a trip to Cornwall to revisit places linked with their courtship. His poems 1912 to 13 reflect upon her death. In 1914, Hardy married his secretary Florence Emily Dugdale, who was 39 years his junior. He remained preoccupied with his first wife's death and tried to overcome his remorse by writing poetry. In his later years, he kept a wire box terrier named Wessex, who was notoriously ill-tempered. Wessex's gravestone can be found on the Maxgate grounds. In 1910, Hardy had been appointed a member of the Order of Merit and was also, for the first time, nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature. He was nominated again for the prize 11 years later. Last years of Hardy. Hardy was horrified by the destruction caused by First World War, pondering that I do not think a world in which such fiendishness is possible to be worth the saving, and better to let Western civilization perish and let the black and yellow races have a chance. He wrote to John Galsworthy that the exchange of international thoughts is the only possible salvation for the world. Hardy became ill with pleurisy in December 1927 and died at Maxgate just after 9 p.m. on 11 January 1928. Having dedicated his final poem to his wife on his deathbed, the cause of death was cited on his death certificate as cardiac syncope with old age, given as a contributory factor. His novels. Hardy divided his novels and collected short stories into three classes: novels of character and environment. In this category is The Poor Man and the Lady, Under the Greenwood Tree, a rural painting of the Dutch school, Far from the Madding Crowd, The Return of the Native, The Mayor of Casterbridge, The Woodlanders, Wessex Tale, Tess of the D'Urbervilles, Life's Little Ironies, Jude the Obscure. Second category of his novels is romances and fantasies. In this included A Pair of Blue Eyes, a novel, The Trumpet Major, Two on a Tower, a romance, A Group of Noble Dames, The Well Beloved, a sketch of a temperament. Third category is novels of ingenuity. In this category, his novels Desperate Remedies, a novel, The Hand of Ethelbert, a comedy in chapters, a Laodicean, a story of today is included. Features of his novels: sympathy for the peasants in an age of decline and decay of peasantry. His novels reflects nostalgia for the pastoral and patriarchal mode of life. Man's life controlled by hostile, cruel, mysterious fate. A pessimistic vein runs throughout his novels. Architectural structure by accumulating each circumstance, each detail to strengthen the final effect, fate. A naturalistic tendency in his works. Thank you.